Ladies and gentlemen, the new advisory is out on Tropical Storm Nicholas. While it is still a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm at this time, it's still moving north-northwest, this time at 14 miles per hour. Pressure is still the same. There is now a tropical storm warning from basically the U.S.-Mexico border, even south into Mexico, all the way, all the way to Freeport, Texas at this point. And the newest information that's coming in, a hurricane watch has been issued for parts of the Texas coast that includes from Port Aransas to Sargent, Texas. So we'll be watching it. The reason they have issued this is because there is a possibility that this could strengthen into a hurricane. I can show you the satellite imagery right here. It is getting better organized by the hour. It's just taking some time. The convection is a little slow right now, but it's been picking up every hour. Let's pull it up back 120 frames to show you what I am talking about. So this was last night, and then it starts. You can clearly start seeing the rotation right here, and it's been getting only better and better. So we'll pull it one more time. There's center circulations about right here, and you can see it's really getting more and more defined by the hour. And one more thing, another area of convection blew up right here, and now it's becoming it's getting sucked into this. It's starting to form, like you can clearly see it. It's not really forming an eye. It's way too early for that, but that center of circulation looks pretty defined at this moment. So they have it going up to 65 miles per hour by 1 p.m. on Monday. However, they have it at 65 miles per hour during after it's made landfall. So at this point, that's why they issued the hurricane watch. So because it's still going to be over water for another 8 hours or so. That's why it's That's why it's staying there. That's why they issued the hurricane watch, because there's a possibility it could get stronger. So this is the latest advisory right here. It's tropical storm watch is still in effect from north of Port Aransas to Highland, Texas, to High Island, Texas. And a storm surge warning is in effect from Port Aransas to St. Louis, Texas. So we're going to be careful of that. Storm surge, I don't think they've updated the storm surge yet. They haven't. It's still 2 to 4 feet at this time. Could be even more, considering that it could be a hurricane as it makes landfall, according to the NHC. So basically, this is the watches and warnings. Storm surge warning means there's a danger of life-threatening inundation from rising water moving inland from a coastline during the next 36 hours. So that's basically the premises. It's still a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm, but it's expected to slow down by late Monday and Monday night. It's expected to pass just offshore of northeastern Mexico and southern Texas before making landfall. Wasn't nearly similar to Hurricane Harvey, but it's just moving. It's not going to make landfall. It's moving parallel to shore and then making landfall around Port Lavaca, according to the NHC. So that's a pretty new development at this point. It's not really that new. Tropical storm force winds extend 105 miles from the center. So the hazards, rainfall is the biggest threat right here. Nicholas is expected to produce a storm total rainfall of 8 to 16 inches with isolated maximum amounts of 20 inches across portions of the middle and upper Texas coast areas today through the middle of the week. Along the rest of the coastal Texas into southern Louisiana, rainfall will be 5 to 10 inches. This rainfall may produce areas of considerable flash and urban flooding, especially in highly urbanized metropolitan areas. If you're in Houston, you're anywhere in the Houston metro area, if you're anywhere in Harris County, Montgomery County, Galveston County, and anywhere near that, there could be considerable flooding, especially in the city of Houston itself. Additionally, there is potential for isolated minor to moderate river flooding. That's an update for quite some time. Oh, looks like they did update it. They just didn't update the map yet. Oh, they just did, as a matter of fact. So there's a new storm surge map they're expecting 3 to 5 feet of storm surge from Port O'Connor all the way to Louis Pass. They're expecting 2 to 4 inches from Port Aransas, from all the way from the border of Mexico to Port O'Connor. They're expecting still 2 to 4 feet in the Galveston Bay area, and now 1 to 3 feet of storm surge through Beaumont, Texas, all the way to Intracoastal City, Louisiana. So be very careful about that. This is an indication that this may be stronger than we initially thought it would be. This is an indication. The satellite supports that, even though its center of circulation isn't really like that rotating very quickly now. Right now is right now, and it's been getting a lot better in the last few hours. So be very cognizant of it, especially with this blow up in the northern part of the storm, especially with these storms just kind of merging together, forming that center of circulation. So be very cognizant of it. It's expected to strengthen. The intensity models haven't updated yet. These models haven't updated yet, but it's basically the same thing at this point. There basically, to add my 2 cents into this, it's that it doesn't matter how strong this gets. You have to prepare for the worst case scenario. The main threat as of right now, like I said, is the rainfall threat. That's the main threat at this point. It's not the wind threat. It's not the surge threat. Even though even though the surge threat is a serious threat if you're on the coast, it's not as big of a threat as the rainfall threat. Up to 20 inches of rain is a lot of water. A tropical storm Imelda of 2019 dumped 39 inches of rain, caused a huge amount of flooding. Half of that causes a huge amount of flooding, especially if the city of Houston gets it. It's going to basically swamp all the roads and everything. It's going to be a recipe for disaster. How strong do I think it'll get? It's honestly, I don't know. If I have to give a ballpark estimate, I'd have to say probably around a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm to maybe around an 80-mile-per-hour hurricane at this point. That's the hypnosis I have at this point. I'm looking at everything. It's over favorable conditions. I don't think it's going. It's definitely. I'm not putting category major hurricane off the table or anything. I'm not doing that for this reason, because everyone put Hurricane Harvey put it off the table for Hurricane Harvey. They put category 3 or above the status. They just shoved it off the table. The majority of this models had it going as a strong tropical storm or weak hurricane. Only a few outliers had it going anything stronger, up to a Cat 2. We all know how that turned out. It made landfall as a Cat 4. So be very cognizant and be very careful. If you're anywhere on the Texas coast, if you're anywhere in the western Louisiana coast, you need to watch out for this. This is no joke. There are now hurricane watches for your area. That should tell you to start preparing for hurricane force conditions. If you live near the coast and it's susceptible to storm surge flooding, I recommend evacuating at this point, especially if this storm gets stronger than we anticipate it to be. There's a hurricane watch out there for a reason. So if you're in a flood-prone area, evacuate, leave. If you're on higher ground, start preparing for the worst for wind damage. Start getting at your supplies. Start charging your electronics. Start powering up your NOAA radios. You may lose power in these. You may lose power in this. So, aircraft reconnaissance is in progress right now. We're gonna update it right now. So at this point, there's currently the recon is in the storm at this point. So, yeah, as soon as that reconnaissance flight is done, I'll analyze it, get back to you. This is no joke. Start preparing for at least a Category 1 hurricane. Treat this as a potential flood threat. If you're in, once again, the new advisory is out. Storm surge estimates have gone up. The tropical storm force estimates, like the when even though it's still at 40 miles per hour, you can tell it's starting to get more and more organized right here. So be prepared for anything. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's all the analysis I have for now. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It is much appreciated, and it helps me get more updates out to you. Be careful if you're anywhere in Be careful if you're anywhere on the Texas coast or in the western Louisiana coast.